Hello friends, welcome to Seeker Academy. Uh, this is module 12 about AZ-900 exam, Microsoft Azure Fundamentals Real Exam questions and concepts. So in this module, I will be providing few more real exam questions and concepts. Let's begin the questions. AZ-900 exam question number 191. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Note each correct selection is worth 1 point. So we have three statements in the answer area. Let's go to the statement 1. You can configure the Azure Active Directory activity logs to appear in Azure Monitor. Right? You can monitor the Azure Active Directory activity logs in Azure Monitor. So the right answer is yes, you can configure that. Next statement is from Azure Monitor. You can monitor resources across multiple Azure subscriptions, right? So the right answer is here yes. Third statement, from Azure Monitor you can create alerts, right? Again the right answer is here yes, you can create the alerts in Azure Monitor. AZ-900 exam question number 192. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Note each correct selection is worth 1 point. So let's go to the statement 1. From Azure Service Health, an administrator can view the health of all the services in an Azure environment. Options we have yes and no. The right answer is here yes, you can view the health of all the services in Azure environment. Next statement, from Azure Service Health, an administrator can create a rule to be alerted if an Azure service fails, right? So the right answer is here yes. And third statement, from Azure Service Health, an administrator can prevent a service failure, right? An administrator can prevent a service failure. The right answer is no. So you cannot filter even if you are administrator in Azure from Azure Service Health. AZ-900 exam question number 193. You have an on-premises application that send email notifications automatically based on a rule. You plan to migrate the application to Azure and you plan to recommend a serverless computing solution for the application. What should you include in the recommendation? Right? So options we have a web app, B, a server image in Azure Marketplace, C, a logic app, D, an API app. The right answer is here a logic app. Since you have planned to recommend a serverless computing, alright, so the right answer is here a logic app. AZ-900 exam question number 194. Drag and drop the match right answer here. Match the Azure service to the correct definition. Instructions to answer, drag the appropriate Azure service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Note each correct match is worth 1 point here. So you need to select the right option in the answer area based on the statement here. The statements we have an integrated solution for the deployment of code. Alright, the options we have Azure Advisor, Azure Cognitive Services, Azure Application Insights, and Azure DevOps, right? And then another statement writes a tool that provides guidance and recommendations to improve an Azure environment, a simplified tool to build intelligent artificial intelligence applications and monitor web applications. So for these statements, the right answers we have for the first one, right, an integrated solution for the deployment code which we can achieve based like using the Azure DevOps. And next one, a tool that provides guidance and recommendations to improve an Azure environment. So the right option is here Azure Advisor, where we can have the such guidance and recommendations pulled to take a action on the particular issue. Next one, a simplified tool to build intelligent artificial intelligent applications. So the right answer is since it is a artificial intelligent applications, right? So the right answer is Azure Cognitive Services. And the last one, monitor web applications. So this will be under Azure Application Insights. AZ-900 exam question number 195. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. So we have three statements in the answer area. Let's go to the statement 1. Azure Advisor can generate a list of Azure virtual machines that are protected by Azure Backup. Options we have yes and no, right? Azure Advisor can generate list of Azure virtual machines that are protected by Azure Backup. So whether the right answer is here, no. Option no. Next statement, if you implement the security recommendations provided by Azure Advisor, your company's secure score will decrease, right? So your company's secure score will decrease. The right answer is here, no. So the company's score will not decrease even if you implement the security recommendations which is provided by Azure Advisor. Next statement, to maintain Microsoft support, you must implement the security recommendations provided by Azure Advisor within a period of 30 days. So this is also option no. So there is no such restrictions or limitations where you must implement the required recommendations. So there is no such restrictions. Whether it will provide the advice or the recommendations, whether you want to take that and fix that issue, or the recommendations you want to be implemented or not, that is our choice, right? So the right answer is option 1. AZ-900 exam question number 196. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. So let's go to the statement 1. Azure Advisor provides recommendations on how to improve the security of an Azure Active Directory environment. The options we have yes and no. The right answer is no. Next statement, Azure Advisor provides recommendations on how to reduce the cost of running Azure virtual machines. This is also the right answer is here yes. And third statement, Azure Advisor provides recommendations on how to configure the network settings on Azure virtual machines. The right answer is here no. AZ-900 exam question number 197. Which task can you perform by using Azure Advisor? Options we have: A. Integrate Active Directory and Azure Active Directory, Azure AD. B. Estimate the cost of an Azure solution. C. Confirm that Azure subscription security follows best practices. And D. Evaluate which on-premises resources can be migrated to Azure. Right? The right answer is here, estimate the cost of an Azure solutions, which can take the task using the Azure Advisor. So right answer is B, estimate the cost of an Azure solution. AZ-900 exam question number 198. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. So in the answer area, so we have the statement here. You can enable just-in-time access by using which three services? The services listed here: Azure Bastion, Azure Firewall, Azure Front Door, Azure Security Center. So the right answer is here, Azure Security Center. AZ-900 exam question number 199. Match the Azure service to the correct definition. Instructions here: to answer, drag the appropriate service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each correct match is worth 1 point. So the answer options we have: Azure Databricks, Azure Functions, Azure App Service, and Azure Application Insights. The statements we have: provide the platform for serverless code, a big data analysis service for machine learning, detects and diagnosis anomalies in web apps, and host web apps. The right answers here: Provide the application platform for serverless code is Azure Functions. Big data analysis service for machine learning is the Azure Databricks. Detects and diagnosis anomalies in web apps, Azure Application Insights. Host web apps is Azure App Service. AZ-900 exam question number 200. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. So in the answer area, so there is, you need to fill the choose the right Azure service here. So is an Apache Spark based analytics service. So which service is the an Apache Spark based analytics service? The options we have: Azure Databricks, Azure Data Factory, Azure DevOps, Azure Synapse Analytics, right? So the right answer is Azure Databricks is an Apache Spark based analytics service in Azure Cloud. AZ-900 exam question number 201. You need to configure an Azure solution. You need to configure an Azure solution that meet the following requirements. Requirements are: secure websites from attacks, generates reports that contain details of attempted attacks. Question: what should you include in the solution? So the options we have: A. Azure Firewall, B. A network security group, NHS, Azure Information Protection, and DDoS Protection. So the right answer is DDoS Protection. AZ-900 exam question number 202. Which Azure service can you use as security information and event management solution? Options we have: Azure Analysis Services, Azure Sentinel, Azure Information Protection, Azure Cognitive Services. Here the right answer is Azure Sentinel. AZ-900 exam question number 203. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. So the answer area statement is here: Azure Distributed Denial of Service Protection is an example of protection that is implemented at the which layer? Application layer, compute layer, networking layer, or perimeter layer. The right answer is networking layer. AZ-900 exam question number 204. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. Your company implements which solution, right? So automatically add a watermark to Microsoft Word document that contain credit card information. Options we have: Azure Policies, DDoS Protection, Azure Information Protection, Azure Active Directory Identify Protection. The right answer is here Azure Information Protection, so that we can use, which will add a watermark automatically in Microsoft Word document. AZ-900 exam question number 205. You need to ensure that when Azure Active Directory uses to connect to Azure AD from the internet by using an anonymous IP address, and the users are prompted automatically to change their password, right? Which Azure service should you use? Options we have: A. Azure AD Connect Health, B. Azure AD Privileged Identity Management, C. Azure Advanced Threat Protection, and D. Azure AD Identity Protection. Right answer is here Azure AD Identity Protection. AZ-900 exam question number 206. Match the Azure service to the correct definition. Instructions we have: to answer, drag the appropriate Azure service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each correct match is worth 1 point. Answer options we have: Azure Government, GDPR, ISO, NIST. So the statements we have: an organization that defines international standards across all industries, an organization that defines standards used by the United States government, a European policy that regulates data privacy and data corruption protection, and dedicated public cloud for federal and state agencies in the United States. The answer area, right? So the right answers we have here: For the first one ISO, next NIST, and next GDPR, and the last one Azure Government. AZ-900 exam question number 207. What can Azure Information Protection encrypt? It's what can Azure Information Protection encrypt? Options we have: network traffic, documents and images, email images, an Azure storage account, an Azure SQL database. Right? So the right answer is documents and email messages, which we using the information protection, right? So that will encrypt in Azure. AZ-900 exam question number 208. What should you use to evaluate whether your company's Azure environment meets the regulatory requirements? The options we have: the Knowledge Center website, the Advisor Blade from the Azure portal, Compliance Manager from the Service Trust portal, and the Solutions Blade from the Azure portal. The right answer is Compliance Manager from the Service Trust portal. AZ-900 exam question number 209. You have an Azure subscription. Where will you find details on the personal data collected by Microsoft, how Microsoft uses the data, and what the data is used for? Right? So you have the Azure subscription, but how will you identify the personal data collected by Microsoft, how Microsoft uses the data, and what data it is used? Options we have: the data protection addendum, the Microsoft Online Services service terms, the Microsoft Privacy Statement, and Azure Security Center. The right answer is the Microsoft Privacy Statement. AZ-900 exam question number 210. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. So the options we have, so to fill out choose the right solution here. Explains what data Microsoft process, how Microsoft process the data, and how the purpose of processing the data. The options we have: Microsoft Online Services Privacy Statement, Microsoft Product Terms, Microsoft Online Service Level Agreement, and Online Subscription Agreement for Microsoft Azure. Right answer is Microsoft Online Services Privacy Statement. AZ-900 exam question number 211. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. So answer area, we have the options. To choose the right option is the process of verifying a user credentials. Options we have: authorization, authentication, federation, and ticketing. So here we need to verify the user's credentials. So the right answer is authentication. So authentication is the process of verifying user credentials. AZ-900 exam question number 212. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. So each correct selection is worth 1 point. So we have 3 statements in the answer area. Let's go to the statement 1. General data protection regulation defines data protection and privacy rules. So the options we have yes and no. The right answer is here option yes. Next statement: general data protection regulation applies to companies that offer goods or services to individuals in the EU. The right answer is yes. Third statement: Azure can be used to build a general data protection regulation compliant infrastructure. Build a GDPR here. So the right answer is here option yes. AZ-900 exam question number 213. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. We have 3 statements in the answer area. Let's go to the statement 1. To implement an Azure multi-factor authentication solution, you must sync on-premises identities to the cloud. The right answer is here no. 2 valid methods for Azure multi-factor authentication are picture identification and a passport number. So here the right answer is option no. And next statement: Azure multi-factor authentication can be required for an administrative and non-administrator user accounts. So the right answer is here, yes. AZ-900 exam question number 214. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. So let's go to the statement 1. If your company uses an Azure free account, you will be able to use a subset of Azure services. So the right answer is here, no. Next statement, all Azure free accounts expires after a specific period. Right? All Azure free accounts expires after a specific period. The right answer is here, yes. Next statement, you can create up to 10 Azure free accounts by using the same Microsoft account. So here the answer is no. So you cannot. So you can create only by using the only one Microsoft account, only one Azure free account you can create. You cannot create multiple Azure accounts for the same Microsoft account here. Right? The right answer is option no. AZ-900 exam question number 215. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. So all Azure services that are in public preview are, options we have, provided without any documentation, only configurable from Azure CLI, excluded from the service level agreements, only configurable from the Azure portal. So all Azure services that are in the public preview are, the right answer is here, excluded from the service level agreements. So right answer is excluded from the SLA. AZ-900 exam question number 216. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. An Azure service is available to all Azure customers when it is in, so the options we have, public preview, private preview, development, and enterprise agreement subscription. Right, so the right answer is here, public preview. So you can use, customers we can use when the service is, Azure service is in public preview only. AZ-900 exam question number 217. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. So let's go to the statement 1. An Azure service in private preview is released to all Azure customers. Right answer is here, no. An Azure service in public preview is released to all Azure customers. Right answer is here, yes. An Azure service in general availability is released to subset of Azure customers. So here the right answer is here, option no. AZ-900 exam question number 218. Drag the Azure service to the correct definition. Instructions to answer, drag the appropriate Azure service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each correct match is worth 1 point. Answer options we have Azure HD Insight, Azure Data Lake Analytics, Azure SQL Synapse Analytics, Azure SQL Database. The statements we have a managed relational and relational cloud database service. And next one, a cloud-based service that leverages massively parallel processing to quickly run complex queries across petabytes of data in relational database. And next statement, can run massively parallel data transformation and processing programs across petabytes of data. And the last statement is an open source framework for the distributed processing and analysis of big data sets in clusters. The right answers we have for the first one, Azure SQL Database and Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Lake Analytics, and Azure HD Insight. AZ-900 exam question number 219. Match the Azure service to the correct definition. Instructions we have, to answer, drag the appropriate Azure service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each correct match is worth 1 point. Answer options we have Azure Virtual Machine Learning, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure IoT Hub, and Azure Functions. Statements we have: provides a cloud-based enterprise data warehouse, uses past trainings to provide predictions that have higher probability, provides a serverless computing functionalities, processes data from millions of sensors. So the options, write on options in the answer area here: Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Machine Learning. Predictions can be done using the Azure Machine Learning, and serverless computing, right? So that will be Azure Functions, and the sensors, mean if you want to process the sensors information, right? So that will be Azure IoT Hub. AZ-900 exam question number 220. Match the Azure service to the right to the correct definition. Instructions: to answer, drag the appropriate Azure service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each correct match is worth 1 point. So answer options we have: Azure Machine Learning, Azure IoT Hub, Azure Bot Services, Azure Functions. The statements we have: provides a digital online assistant that provides speech support, uses past trainings to provide predictions that have high probability, provides serverless computing functionalities, process data from millions of sensors. So the right answers in the answer area here: Azure Bot Service, where we need to provide speech support, right? So which we can utilize the Azure Bot Services here. And then predictions can be done in Azure Machine Learning, and then serverless computing, which is Azure Functions in Azure Cloud, and then the last one is Azure IoT Hub, which we can process data from millions of sensors using the Azure IoT Hub service. So with this, we completed the module 12 about AZ-900 Microsoft Azure Fundamentals Real Exam Questions and Concepts. So if you are new to my channel, please like, share and subscribe and provide your valuable comments. Thanks for watching.